be courageous. I think you should just get out there and try to swim.
Just start, yeah.
Just start.
Just start. Starting is always the hardest part.
Welcome to Unfiltered Creativity.
I'm Shri.
I am Mounima.
And we are both on a journey to live a more creative life.
We are so excited and grateful to have you all along this ride.
This is an open space to have dialogues about productivity, mindfulness, art, music, personal growth, entrepreneurship, and many, many more.
So here we are. Look where we have come. Long way.
Season finale of our first season of Unfiltered Creativity. I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either. It feels surreal for me.
Surreal, yeah. Today we have our tea. We are relaxing. We're just going to have a fun conversation about something that both of us have been into the last little while. And that is entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship. Women in business.
That's right. And I think with some of the questions we'll ask each other, we'll learn a little bit more about each other's businesses and hopefully inspire some of you to explore your own entrepreneurship, because it is a wonderful thing. So Mounima, why don't you tell us a little bit about your new business?
Sure, thank you. It's called Murch. We are from Hyderabad. It was started by or founded by me and my sister Damini. We both come from a musical background from India. We both have worked for films, and my sister is still working in the films. I am here studying, doing my master's, but then apart from that, we basically make music merchandising. I'll tell you how it all started. So my sister in 2019, she invested 3 lakh INR, I guess, to produce her own EP, which is called Extended Album. It's like a shorter version of album. It had like 3 songs and she did a great job. And she released it during the pandemic. Once it's released, she got tremendous response from her social media, from her colleagues, and it was good. But the thing is, the catch is all these online streaming platforms or all these online revenue platforms like Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all of these platforms, they actually pay the artists in a very measly manner. Not even $1 per stream. It's like $0.001 per stream. So don't even try to convert it to a rupee.
And like, I guess the only way to make money is if you have millions of followers and millions of
listeners. Exactly. So we were like, I was like, dude, you've invested so much and there has to be a way to bring that money back to make more music. Otherwise, she would always be in deficit. Just spend all the savings, make music, but that's just going into a black hole, right? So we were like exploring options on how to monetize that, monetize the music. I mean, she was still monetizing her music, but the returns
further monetize.
Yeah,
right?
further monetize. Look into further
creating
revenue
new
streams.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's when we thought, merchandising. Why not merchandise? Because merchandise is a very famous and integral part of the Western culture here in North America or anywhere you go, but not in India. In India, it's still less than the rest of the places in the world or rest of the industries in the world. So we were like, we have to start doing something fun like this, because we are also passionate about fashion. We are also passionate about music. So we were like, let's just get these 2 attributes together. That's when we brought it together. And it all started with doing only Damini's merchandise. We did merchandise only for her songs. But then after receiving tremendous response on her merchandise, we were like, wait a minute, why are we doing it only for you? Why can't we make the other artists also make money? So that's how it all started.
That's amazing. And I think like that whole take on merchandising, to also almost become a merchandising hub for other artists. It's so creative.
Exactly.
So creative.
So I'll tell you something crazy. There is no one in India right now who is doing music merchandising. Like if an independent artist wants to go to a place to get their merchandise done, there is no go-to place. So we want to be that.
Wow.
That's the whole agenda or vision we have behind Murch Better. Other than that, we also have some other projects we are coming up with, like some independent Murch Better stuff, to build it as a brand also, not just a merchandise thing, but we also want to build it as a brand. So out of our sheer passion and interest, we are also doing some independent products just solely from Murch Better.
Yeah, I hear you're working with an amazing artist out of Canada.
Yes, she is amazing, and I'm so glad that we are going to work together in future. Yeah.
It's me. If you didn't get that, I was just joking.
Yeah, it's Srinidhi. Yeah, I'm so glad we will work together in future for sure. Awesome. Now that we've heard about my business, let's talk about your business, Srinidhi. I'm so interested to know.
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey for me as well. So I've always been creative, and interestingly enough, I haven't always been very good at it. I was just creative because it was an outlet for me. So when I was studying, I would draw or paint or color or whatever it was, but I didn't really take it seriously until after I finished my undergraduate degree and I was working full time. And one of the reasons I took it more seriously was I was getting a lot of pressure to do further education for my full-time job, get a master's. And I didn't know what I wanted to do at that time. So to kind of buy time, I got a certification in graphic design and started oil painting and doing some other stuff a little bit more seriously. And I registered Shree's Arts at that time. I was just thinking it would be a good decision if I was started to sell nothing major, like a friend wanted something, I would sell it to them for something measly. But I thought if I am making money, I should record it as income. So I registered Shree's Arts at that time and continued posting on my page, personal page, whatever. But during the pandemic, which has been definitely a transformational period for both of us, I moved into this larger house and suddenly had a very inspirational space and surrounding. I had a much bigger living room, lots more light. So I started painting there, and I came up with this collection that ended up getting a really great response on social media.
Yes.
And with the response I was getting, I was like, maybe I should take this business as a business. I should take it more seriously. So I upgraded my website. I started, I set some standardized prices. I did some research. I created prints and puzzles and a couple of other product lines. And now I actually have a monetized business just through my paintings and my creativity. So it's been a real dream. I still have a full-time job, a 9-to-5 at a financial institution. So it's not really a full-time business yet, but yeah, I do paint and I have a mix of stuff. I grew up in Canada, but a lot of my, cultural influences, my life influences are from India. So I bring that, energy into my painting and my art, and I have a unique take on it, and I think people like it. So
yeah, definitely. I see all of the culture reflecting in your work and paintings.
So yeah, it's really about creating art for the modern home, and I'm still working on growth strategy and what that looks like, how to monetize it in a more consistent way, things like that. But it's new, it's a slow process, and
it's a slow process, especially in the year one. It's a slow and it's a hustle phase is what I call it.
What was the hardest part for you to get started?
Oh, I think, having that courage to start something on our own was the hardest part, to muster up all the courage. And there's still some skepticism going on around something new. If you share about some new ideas and some new things or some new ventures you want to start, there's always some skepticism. Okay, are you sure, and all of that. So to overcome all of that, to muster up all the courage and coming up with a solid business model was the hardest part. Another thing is we started in a pandemic, so
That's
come
scary,
on,
yeah.
that's
That's
also
scary.
there. So if not for pandemic, it would have been easier for us to go for scouting or to procure vendors and all of that, to establish a nice supply chain or an operation chain for us. But because it's pandemic, everything is virtual. We have to deal with phones and calls and stuff. That has been challenging. Another challenging part is the distance we have. I am here and my sister is in India. Yeah, I think that time zone difference and all of it is also a very challenging part, but that's okay, we are managing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think getting started for me, sometimes I look back on, just my Instagram page into history, and I almost am like, wow, I was courageous because I put stuff out there that was not very good. And I had posts while I was learning how to do lettering and while I was learning how to paint. And, like the fact that I put myself out there then, without really worrying about the impact or the judgment, I think looking back on that, I'm like, oh, not bad, right? But yeah, and I think as I go on, I'm a little bit more careful, like, should I post this? Is it good enough? Is this good enough to sell? Is this good enough to share? So I'm constantly asking that. But I think one challenge that I would imagine people would have before starting a business is that courage. And I would say just go for it, right? Like I've tried a lot of stuff and failed. Like there was a time I was really keen on being a YouTube music star. And,
wow.
And I really posted a lot of stuff, and some of it's still out there hidden in the YouTube verse. And I didn't become a YouTube star. Like looking back on that, sure, it was a bit cringy, but I did it. And I was thinking, should I take it down? And I was like, maybe I shouldn't. It was a part of my creative journey.
Yeah.
It was a messy part, a little bit cringe, but hey, I put myself out there. Not everybody can say that, right?
Not everybody can.
I think there's a lot of courage that goes into starting a business. And in terms of challenges, having a business, I think one challenge that I'm trying to figure out the best way out of. So my business is like, there's no business plan. It's not like I'm not there. Right now, the challenge is that everything that this business produces in terms of income is based on my time. Like I can't have someone manufacture a painting.
Yeah.
And I can't have, like a lot of it is based on me doing the grunt work. So I'm trying to think of ways to use my art in a way where, I'm able to monetize it so I have stability and also giving myself room to keep creating. So finding that balance has definitely been a challenge. And I think in general, like the lack of stability is scary. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
1 week there's something big and it's exciting, and then the next week it's super slow and you can't count on it in that sense. Like I would love to have a stable income from a side hustle, but
I think but there's always that risk associated with any business or
of
anywhere.
course. I think the one thing that's also become really apparent to me since growing Shree's Arts in the past year is how a business that you take on is a 24/7 hustle. And I should have known that, but I think it's really hitting me because I do have a wonderful day job that I enjoy, but there are benefits. I can go on a vacation and I have the luxury to put my laptop away and not think about work.
Yeah.
And if my project doesn't deliver, or if something happens, I still get paid. I still get my benefits, right? Whereas if I don't deliver art, or if I don't share, if I don't post, or if I take a month off, all of those things directly reflect on how my business does. So that's definitely something that's been hitting home. So Mounima, how important has social media been in your business?
Social media, I think, is the most, it's the major pie of our business to get sales. Because right now we are not doing any kind of marketing. It's just through social media and the number of followers we have. We, in the sense, me and my sister have on social media. So I think it's my 50,000 followers plus her 70 or something. So we are using our social media efficiently and effectively to promote Murch better on our own respective platforms. And most of our sales that are converted are through social media. It's just the people who follow us there are buying the products from us, and we are very, very grateful for all of it. But we are in serious intentions to do some serious marketing and branding, and we already started that. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to how all that will unveil in future.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how, if social media is still the biggest pie or if it's through other things.
I mean, yeah, it's just that free social media marketing we are doing right now. Apart from that, me and my sister, we both also do some email marketing thing. We have some newsletter and stuff. So I think on a whole, digital marketing for free. Right now, we're not spending a penny on it, but still we are doing well. So we were like, just imagine if we invest some money in it and actually get out there to, acquire some nice customers.
We should definitely do like an update episode on this to see how that goes.
Yes, strategies.
Yeah, for me as well, social media is the only pie. I'm not doing any other marketing initiatives or anything like that.
Yeah.
But one thing I did do was I went onto a website called Fiverr, where you can hire people, Fiverr.
Okay.
And basically you can hire people to do tasks for you. If you need to edit something, create an intro video, like all of these things, they can do these tasks for you and you just pay for the job.
Okay.
So I had found somebody on Fiverr and I paid them $65 last year, Canadian, to completely revamp the SEO on my website.
Oh, that's amazing.
So they created all the links, they created all the SEO content and hashtags and whatever. And I actually do find that my website traffic has doubled
after doing that.
And I think it's a combination of things. I think it's my social media following is also steadily growing. It has been over the past year, so that helps. But definitely there's a lot more searches that are going directly through Google, whereas before everything was going through Instagram.
Through Instagram.
So that's been an interesting development.
Yeah.
So I think the SEO and the social media right now are my two things.
Tools.
And it's only the free social media. I haven't paid for anything. But
yeah,
right now I'm trying to figure out what's the direction that my business is taking, and then I'm going to think about what's the right marketing strategy for that direction. But
yeah, I mean, this is the beauty of it. I really love enjoying and embracing all of this journey and learning things. I think that's the kick I want out of all this. Yeah,
one of the best things actually of keeping my full-time job is that I'm not stressed financially.
Yeah.
So I actually get to play a little bit with my business. I can test a new product, it can fail. I can do different things and see how it works out.
Yeah.
Because I get to enjoy that experimental phase. Definitely if I didn't have that stability in the background, I don't know what I would do. I don't know how I would run this business, or if I would just run and find more stability.
Working on your business full time, it can also
I
change
think so.
results overnight. We
I
never
think
know.
So. I think like obviously if I had more time to put into my business, I'm sure there's a lot more I'll think of doing.
There's a lot of room.
Lots of room to grow, and it's definitely a catch-22. So, an interesting thing is in my upbringing, I was not encouraged to be a creative full time. It was always like, it's good, you have hobbies. Keep them as hobbies. Get an education. Get a full-time job. So that construct has,
that's still there.
It's still there, and it impacts, my ability to be able to steer away from that. From that kind of stability and repetitiveness, and you can count on it. Like the job is always changing, but you can count on certain things. So it's interesting. It's interesting for somebody like me who's been pushed stability to be taking on something that's so unstable.
Yeah, it is.
But you've always had, like, you've been a true career creative, right? In that sense.
Yeah.
So.
My mom, especially, credits to her because she has always, as I mentioned in episode 1.
Wow.
Yeah. Like a full circle, we are coming back to it. Yeah, she has always wanted to be in show business and do something creative like this, but unfortunately she couldn't. So she encouraged all her life. All she did was encourage her daughters, who is me and my sister.
That's amazing.
That's a sweet thing. But my dad, he was not very sure. He was unsure during the start. But then now I think he's fine, of course.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, it's funny, right? Like, I think it so depends on your parents' experience, on what is projected onto you.
Yeah.
Because both of my parents are career creatives in some sense. My mom is a dance teacher and my dad, not so much of a creative, but he was in like the startup software industry. Both now my mom's company is doing well, it's more stable, and but growing up, they know what it's like and how hard the hustle is of running your own thing and being your own boss and working Friday nights and Saturday afternoons, and they know what that risk is. So they didn't want us to do that. They wanted us to have what they didn't have, same like your mom, right? They wanted us to have stability. And they wanted us to have benefits and a consistent income and Saturdays off and a social life. So like, it's funny.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll be the opposite, the next generation, and it'll keep repeating itself.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest risk you've taken in your entrepreneurial journey?
The biggest risk till date in my entire life is to leave my home country and coming to a new country like Canada to do my master's, and also start doing my business remotely from a country like Canada. I think I don't know what triggered me or what inspired me to do this, but I've left my music career or singing, and I didn't leave singing per se, but I still record, but still I'm still not professionally available to all the recording calls I would get if I were back in India, right? So that's, I think, is the biggest risk I have taken, and I was willing to take that risk. I wanted to get out of that comfort zone I've had for many years. I wanted to grow more intellectually, professionally, and financially. So
that's admirable. I think leaving a career, leaving everything you knew to do something, crazy. It's crazy.
Which is crazy, and there's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
I think that's also one of the beauty of it, I guess. I hate uncertainty, but I also like uncertainty sometimes. It's so conflicting.
Yeah, I know, like, there's this important quote that there's no growth in comfort. So if you really want to grow yourself, you need to be a little bit uncomfortable, and you need to put yourself in uncomfortable positions. If you're too comfortable, you're not growing.
Yeah.
So I think it's very admirable that you did that. Yeah, and like that's something I follow in my career, right? Like if I get comfortable in a role, I'm looking for the next role.
What about you? Like, what is your biggest risk?
See, I'm generally very risk averse.
Oh.
And I don't take a lot of big risks. And so yeah, like I think the biggest risk I've taken hasn't been detrimental to, like, it's not, I haven't quit anything and started anything new. I think the biggest risk I took is what I talked about earlier, which is putting myself out there even when I wasn't ready. Like allowing myself to say, yeah, today I'm a musician when I'm not a musician, or I'm an artist and I'm not an artist, and allowing myself to put myself out there and be silly and be vulnerable you know, despite the judgments, I think was probably a risk that I took.
I'm very courageous.
I think so. I'm gonna say it to myself. I think it was a little courageous too, right? Because
Yeah.
and I recognize that in other people. Like, I know people, you know, who are out there being themselves, putting stuff out on social media, and I know they're getting judged for it, but I
Yeah.
never see that. I'm always like, wow, like they actually woke up this morning, got dressed, and put themselves out there. Like, so cool. So yeah, I think that was probably the biggest risk I took. But in terms of like the risks that you have taken, I don't think they even compare, because
Oh no,
you
you're
know,
so
to leave a
kind.
career, like, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Oh no, you're so kind to say that. I think this risk was much needed for me. I also wanted to get away from home for a while.
Oh yes,
Because
perhaps.
I've lived with my parents all my life, all my 28 years of life, and I wanted to like have some time for myself and explore myself and explore my competencies and be independent and not be dependent.
Has that impacted how you approach Murch better in your business?
It does. It is impacting. I feel more independent, and I feel so powerful when I accomplish something, and it has given me a lot of time. See, I'm away from home, which means 50% of my life has no drama right now.
That helps, doesn't it?
It helps me big time. There's a lot of productivity. I can rest when I feel tired. I can get up when I want to. Not like I was feeling pressurized when I was back at home, but you know what I mean. If when you're
Yeah.
at home, you have some things and you don't have much leeway to tweak your schedule or anything like that.
For sure. Like, even when I visit my family, it's
Yes.
like you are living life based on their schedule,
Exactly.
right?
That's
And
what I mean.
it might not be what's optimal for you. So I think there's a lot of growth in moving out. So I'm glad
Yeah.
you're seeing that translate in your business as well.
A lot. I'm leveraging all the time I have. I'm leveraging all the pent
MBA
up
skills.
MBA skills, all the pent up energy I had till now. You know, all I have. Frankly, I have not invested all the energy I have or I had in India. It was all, I don't know. It was all scattered around, and there was no proper channel. But now in Canada, I'm channelizing all my pent up energy into the things I always wanted to do, like podcast I've always wanted to have. So I'm investing my energy in podcast, and then Much Better happened, which is like the best thing that have happened to me in the last 5 years. So I am investing in that, investing
Yeah.
some time in learning some new things, or do some LinkedIn learning, do networking, you know, all of that
Yeah,
stuff.
I think the investing in the right things is super important. And
Yeah.
for me, I've been living on my own for the past now 6.5, 7 years.
Okay.
But it has been the pandemic that has made me focus my investment of time. And I think I was all over the place before for multiple reasons. I think I had a very happening social life. I lived downtown. I had a lot of stuff going on. And also, I do have a lot of creative hobbies. I sing, I dance,
Yeah,
I paint,
you
I
paint.
draw, I do graphic design. So
You do DIYs. Like every corner I look in your house, there's a DIY.
there is, yeah, like I
painted.
have a lot of creative energy, and it's like all over the place.
Yeah.
But I think this year, because I have the business, it's given me something really concrete to focus into. And by putting all of my time, or a bigger chunk of my time proportionally, into one thing, has actually made that more successful. And actually, that makes sense to something you said earlier. It's like, you know, as much as the job that I have, the full-time job, it's amazing. It's a great job, stability. I have great colleagues, all of that. But yeah, if I had a full-time to put into Shree's Arts, imagine
Yeah.
what I could do.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is your best part, like your favorite part of running your own business and, you know, being this independent boss woman?
You said it there. I love being the boss. I think that's the best part. It's like you there's nobody. The best part is there's no one who is controlling you or managing you. It's mostly entrepreneurship or solopreneurs is mostly self-managing themselves in the way they want, right?
Exactly.
So I think I love that, and I love being the owner of my own decisions and my own strategy or my own business. So I think for now I'm enjoying that a lot, along with my sister. I think there's some power in taking some decisions that are working really well for your business. So that's the thing I'm cherishing a lot these days.
Yeah. And I think to add to that, because I totally agree, but I think even to add to that, it's like when you do the work, all of it, end to end, and then you also see the result. Like, that's so exciting for me.
Rewarding.
You know, like, no matter what, if you work in a large organization in any capacity, you do a piece of the work.
Yeah.
And, you know, you see the result as a part of the team, maybe, depending on what you're working on.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like such a clear and cut, like, I see a white canvas and then I see this crazy painting and then I get to ship it and it gets to hang in somebody's home. And that end-to-end process for me is just so exciting.
Yeah, it is.
It's like, you know, I created that and now somebody else also gets to enjoy it. And like, I really like seeing those results and then feeling ownership of them. Like, I actually controlled the entire process to get to that point. So it's really wonderful actually to be entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, I think both of us are doing entrepreneurial, you definitely in a slightly bigger way, me in like a small to medium way. But I think I've had a little bit of that entrepreneurial spirit within me for a long time, right? Even when I just started oil painting, I was thinking, who can I sell this to? And I'm always thinking of like, you know, monetizing and making things a business. And, you know, I think if you have that energy within you or that fire within you, I would say like recognize it, pour some gasoline on that fire, let it burn.
Let it burn.
Maybe not the best analogy.
It is not. But I'm sure they understand.
Maybe pour some water on the plant and let it grow.
That's the best.
That's much better, right?
But yeah. Sure.
So Mounima, do you have any final tips for people who might be thinking about starting something entrepreneurial? If they have an idea.
See, the thing is, I am an entrepreneur, but I don't have that much experience as of now. It's just been few months, but the only tip I have is to take that risk. That's it.
That's a good one.
You have to get out there, take that risk, or you should have that willingness to take that risk and be courageous. I think you should just get out there and try to swim.
Just start, yeah.
Just start.
Yeah, I agree.
Start.
I think that's probably advice for everything, right?
Yeah.
Just start. Starting is always the hardest part.
And
I think like if I could add one thing to that, I would say that, you know, if you are starting something with the intent that having this business of your own is going to be easy and wonderful and you get to own everything. No, there are parts that are difficult. Just like any job, there's going to be stuff you hate. Like one thing I know I'm just starting to draft up is email marketing, and gosh, it just I don't enjoy making email content, but I have to. So like there are stuff that I don't like that I have to do. But definitely it's super rewarding in so many ways.
It is.
And it's worth exploring if you have that energy within you.
Yeah. What about you? What is because you are way more experienced than I am starting your journey and your business. No? When did you start?
I started my Shree's Arts Instagram page maybe 5 years ago, but I only started as a business during the pandemic, just like you.
Just like me? Okay.
Yeah, it was my first painting that kicked off this whole process of Shree's Arts becoming a business. I painted last August. And I sold my first international painting. Like my first couple of paintings were only sold around last October.
Okay.
Last November. So yeah, not even a year since all of it really picked up.
I have a good question for you, like an interesting question, fun question maybe.
Okay.
What is your most favorite painting of yours?
My favorite painting.
I know it's hard to choose, but you have to pick
No, I
one.
have. Actually, the favorite painting of mine isn't even my favorite painting. So I did this really huge, like 100-inch wide column painting with the sunset background that hangs in my living room. Of course, you've seen it.
Yes.
And it's very dramatic, and it's not my favorite painting in terms of the composition or the colors or anything, but it's my favorite because of what that did for me when I posted that, and shortly after I posted my bell painting, which is my top 2 favorites. And that was actually what catapulted like today's street arts, that whole modern Indian vibe. I created it for myself and it ended up resonating, and I think I've painted like 20 bells.
Awesome.
So yeah, those are definitely my favorite because they're so meaningful to me in terms of what they meant to my journey, right?
Yeah.
And what is your favorite piece of merch?
I think it's definitely the first line of merchandise, which is Damini Butla's, my sister's. And even in her merch, we have like 5 products, right? So my first favorite is the shirt she made. I think it's so comfortable. The fabric is very
so soft.
very soft and very comfortable, and I love the color and the design and everything. Apart from that, I also like the bag. We have the midnight bag.
Oh, the pom-poms are
Yeah,
so cute.
with the pom-poms
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, I'm a huge sucker for cloth tote bags, like the jolas. And then now we do have the second line of merchandise, but I haven't had an opportunity to touch or feel it because everything was made in India,
Of
and
course,
it's
you're not gotten
already
yours
selling
yet.
out in India. Yeah.
That's
So-
so for everybody listening, if you want to check out the products at Murch Better or at Shree's Arts,
Yes.
you should definitely find us on Instagram at
It's Mounima.
and at Shree's Arts.
And not just Instagram, even our websites.
Our websites as well. So
Yes.
the Murch Better website is
www.murchbetter.com.
that's MURCH Better.
Merch better, the merchandise that's better.
Yeah, and for me it's www.shrees-arts.com. So be sure to check out our small businesses, and
Yeah.
if you want to join our entrepreneurial journey, or if you want to pop in and say hello,
Yeah.
DM
feel
us
free.
and comment on our YouTube if you're listening to this there.
Yeah.
And make sure you follow us on all of the channels where you can listen to a podcast.
Yes.
We are so excited to wrap up our first season.
I am so happy. I am so happy we did this. Like, we've come a long way.
Just in the past month of putting this podcast together, and
Yeah, I
you
know.
know, I think we've become friends. We've learned so much
Yeah.
about each other, and
I
we've
know.
really, I'm really proud of us today. So
Me too.
Um,
Me too.
we will be launching a second season. We're going to take a short little break and we will be back. So make sure you
Yeah.
turn those notifications on. And we have so much exciting stuff in season 2 to look forward to, including some guest speakers.
Yes.
So you do not want to miss out. Turn on those notifications. We are so excited that you listened to us, you joined us until this point, and we will see you
next season.